Okay, well, we're going to get started. My name is Trevor Dick. I'm the executive director of Flyingbow. Flyingbow is a full sending outreach organization where we're doing evangelism and outreach across Canada and around the world using music and the arts. And we have a large team of artists, over 30 and growing, and we're just really excited tonight to be featuring two of our artist groups. And we've got OKAMA here and Matt Macleod. And we have been doing a new series during COVID called Meet the Artists. And it's just an opportunity for you to meet our artists and hear from them, hear their stories, see and hear their art, and hear about how they've been called into ministry, and just been really wonderful so far. This is our third in a series of we're just going to keep going until things start opening up again. It's just an opportunity for us to get to know you and you to get to know us, and we're really excited tonight. I just want to remind you to keep your devices muted at all times during this live event. And there will be, as I said, an opportunity at the end of each set for you to unmute and interact with the artists themselves and ask your questions and that kind of thing. And our mission statement as a mission organization, outreach organization, is that we are musicians and artists called by God to encourage others to discover and worship Jesus Christ. That's what we're all about. And I'm just going to quickly share my screen. This is our website. Our website's simply flyingbow.com. And you can kind of check it out if you haven't already. But we have 5 key objectives that we work under as an outreach organization. We are wanting to passionately live out Jesus Christ through music and the arts. We want to be active in missions and evangelism as musicians and artists, educate the public and be strong advocates of music and the arts, provide instructional seminars related to faith, music, and the arts, and aid in the relief of poverty in Canada and abroad through music and the arts. And so all our artists are working in some of them in all 5 of these areas, some in 1 or 2 or 3. And God's just been using our artist team in just so many different ways. And you'll notice that this is, it's quite amazing as an organization that we have such a broad platform to work under. And so there's just so many different things that our artists can do to reach people for Christ using the objectives that we have in our mission statement. And so it's just a real honor today to introduce our first artist group. And this is OKAMA. OKAMA are an Indigenous worship music group, a family, Peta and Gerard Roberts, and their 2 girls, Jessie Lee and Israel Rain, along with Matt Macleod, who rounds out the group. He's not a part of the family, but he's been adopted as a son, really, and he plays percussion with them. And Matt's also an artist on his own with Flyingbow, and he's launched a project this year as well, and so he'll be featured as well on his own. And I first met Peta and Gerard Roberts years back. I was the music pastor, worship outreach pastor at Lakeside Church in Guelph a long time ago, at least 20 years ago. And that's when I first met Peta and Gerard. Peta actually sang on our worship team at Lakeside. He's got an amazing voice. Really got to really love them as brothers and sisters in the Lord. And then I ended up teaching both their girls, Jessie Lee violin and Israel Rain cello. And so they were kind of part of my teaching studio. And it's just been and actually on top of all that, Gerard is actually our vet. He takes care of our dog and Levi, and does all the stuff that vets do. But anyway, it's great to have OKAMA here with us, and without any further delay, I'm going to pass things on to OKAMA. Thank you, Gerard and Peta.
We're going to open up with an honor song. which Jessie Lee, our older daughter, received from God.
Mabrika tamashin, Jiopa nanitang. Mabrika, 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 nibaya. Mabrika natone. Mabrika ajupa. Mabrika. Creator God, we just thank you for this time, and we thank you for all that have gathered here. And we give you the first fruits. We honor you with this song, first of all, before we do anything. And we, all of us here, from the traditional terries of the Haudenosaunee and Mississaugas of New Credit. And as it says in your word in Acts 17, that from one man you created all nations, and you determine the territories, you determine the borders, and you have placed these people here first. So we honor that. We honor what you have spoken into existence. And we give you this time. We give you this place in Yeshua's precious and holy name. I'm Gerard. My traditional name is Abayu. I'm here with Peter. Our traditional name is Tayaliti. We are from the Karina and Taino peoples of mixed heritage. And we're also wampum carriers of the Grand River Six Nations. So it's an honor to start this session. And again, it's traditional among our people to give our Creator the first fruits, the first honor, the first praise, before we go into anything else. And so that's what we have done. And we're going to start off with one of our songs. And which one is this? Yahweh. Peter wrote this, and it talks about the different names of the Creator, the Hebrew names, and of course, as traditional people, indigenous people, we have our names that we call the Creator, and we want to share this with you.
Jesus the Savior, Ruach HaKodesh, Holy Spirit, Ruach Elohim, the breath of God, Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, creator of all things, Yahweh, God of the universe, Yahweh, He's the only way, Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, creator of all things, Yahweh, God of the universe, Yahweh is the only way. Yahweh Yireh, God our provider, Yehovah Nissi, Lord my banner, Yehovah Sikkenu, Lord our righteousness, Yehovah Rapha, Lord our healer, Yehovah Shalom, Lord our peace, nothing missing, nothing broken, He's our sweet release, Yehovah Shammah, the Lord is there, Yehovah Roi, the Lord our shepherd, Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, creator of all things, Yahweh, God of the universe, Yahweh, He's the only way, Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, creator of all things, Yahweh, God of the universe, Yahweh, He's the only way, Yahweh, Songwadizo, He who holds the heavens, Yahweh, Nisi Gisam, the unmade maker, Yahweh, Mamushingi Jimanidu, beautiful great one, Yahweh, Tamushi, creator of the universe, Yahweh, Boyokahu, great giver of life bread, Yahweh, Bokyapya, great spirit of life, Yahweh, the God, Yahweh, Anu, Holy Spirit, Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, creator of all things, Yahweh, God of the universe, Yahweh, He's the only way, Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, creator of all things, Yahweh, God of the universe, Yahweh, He's the only way, Yahweh is the only way, Yahweh is the only way, hey, Yahweh, hey, Yahweh, hey, hey, Yahweh, ho, hey, Yahweh, hey, Yahweh, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, 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 Yahweh, hey, Yahweh, hey, Yahweh, and for those who aren't aware, our when we say Heya, it encompasses the 365 names of God, and it is not just vocables as people may think. They're actual words. They're the words that when Moses asked Creator, who should I tell Pharaoh sent me? He said, hey, I am who I am.
And, you know, as traditional people too, protocol is very important. When we come into a different territory, we go and we present gifts. I remember when we, 40 of us First Peoples Indian Nation and Métis, excuse me, we went to Israel. And one of the first things we did there was we protocoled the Knesset. And when we went and we did that, you know, they basically gave us access to all of Israel to do what we came to do, because we came there to bless the people. So right here is a bottle, a water bottle that was given to us, OKAMA. And this one here is Matthew. So Matthew, when next we see you, this is yours. And just wanted to make sure, right? It's still in the package, right? So no one is drunk out of it or anything like that. So set aside for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Gerard and Peta, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Is that okay?
Sure.
A little Q&A time here. We'll do
Yeah.
a kind of a little interview. So first question I have for you is, can you just tell us about your background as artists? How did you get into music and doing what you're doing now? What's your background?
Well, I've been singing since I was 5 or younger. I was born in Jamaica, and I was we had a little Methodist church that was just up the hill from us. And my grandfather was a lay preacher in that church. And we didn't have a children's choir, so I was in the adult choir at age 5. So that's how I started.
For me, let's see. I mean, my mom could sing, my dad could sing, my sister could sing. I never really did. I never really did till I met Peta. And I remember when we were first married, and I went to do some music with her, and nothing would come out of my voice. Nothing. But I'll tell you the story though. And we went to our first Indigenous gathering in 1999. And I saw all these guys like Art Begay and, you know, Richard Twist, and these people were given flutes. They were given flutes. And I said, Lord, if you want me to play a flute, have somebody give it to me. So we were living in Chatham at the time, and 1 year went by, nothing. 2 years went by, nothing. I think it was between the second and third year. I'm saying, Lord, what's going on here? And he says, it's got to cost you something. So I went up to Tydenega, and it's a David Miracle, and it's a family we have been adopted into as well on Mohawk territory. And I bought this flute from him. And I tried, and things weren't sounding right. And then I went to Jonathan, and I said, Jonathan, what's going on here? And he tested it out. He said, oh, it's out of tune, it's out of key. And you see this black tape? He put it there, and ever since that, it has been in key, you know? And it just happened. It just happened from there. So that's how it started.
Yeah, really neat. So tell us how you began to follow Jesus. Like, what was your journey, spiritual journey into becoming followers of Christ?
Well, I think I knew Jesus from the womb. You know, he knew us in our mother's wombs even before, and we were with him even before we were, our spirit was with him before. So I don't remember a time not loving Jesus, frankly. I think officially probably in Sunday school at age 5, and I think of VBS. I vaguely remember asking him into my heart, but I always loved him anyway. But and my favorite, I don't know if anyone's familiar with this, but my favorite hymn was The Old Rugged Cross. I always remember that. I love that. And so, yeah.
For me, I grew up in a home that my parents walked out Yeshua. They walked out the love. And then I left home and that was a real trying time for me. You know, all that I knew, you know, my freedom, you know, being in the bush and being with my dogs, and I came and I ended up in university, and I ended up dropping out twice. And for a moment there, I was on the streets, and and I just, and then one thing led to the next. You know, it seems so distant, right? The life I have now versus then. And I met this lady over here, and I saw her conviction, I saw her love, um, and I wanted that,
Mm-hmm.
and she led me to the Lord, and
Wow.
and and everything changed. Everything changed. Even the way that I think. You know, when I went back to university, and my average was like 59%, and I'd say, Lord, did you sure you want me to be a vet? You know, and but He showed me how I should study, because you know dyslexia is something that's there, but He showed me how I should read, how I should study. And when that occurred, 97, 94, 91, you know, and it's all about surrender. And and believe me, our Creator plans, it's so much greater than ours, you know. And He takes us through things so that we become stronger, you know. And
Mm.
yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. And how did God call you into the ministry that you're doing now? Like, what was the journey there? Because you have a very, I mean, everybody will agree, you have a very unique ministry to your own people, to the Indigenous peoples across Canada and around the world, and also to non-Indigenous. As you're and working in the whole reconciliation movement as well as Christians. Just tell us a little bit about that, about your call.
um, um, as Indigenous people, having that Indigenous heritage, um, we wanted to know more about it. You know, we wanted, you know, we celebrate how the Creator has made us. If you look at our regalia, it talks about that. You know, our Scottish heritage, our African heritage, and of course our Indigenous heritage. We want to give Him, our Creator, all of us, not parts. And we went on a journey, and He took us on a journey of understanding that. And every time we do anything, even tonight, there's a degree of healing that comes to us.
Mhm.
You may say it's a little bit selfish, but when we are full, I pray that it overflows. You see, and and we didn't want our children to have any identity crisis. If you look at this world, there's an identity crisis. They want to follow this one and that one or whatever. But He has created it. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. You know, um, and we need to understand that, because the world is waiting for us. You know, to be our unique self. You know, and Peter, anything to add there?
Um, we kind of wherever we go, things like that happen. We just went on vacation in to Aruba, and we ended up. Gerard met there was a pastor. He went to the beach to just be with the Lord, and a pastor was there and baptizing a bunch of youth, and he had a word for one of the youth, and he just went up to the pastor and asked if he could give it, and he did. And then next thing you know, he comes back to the hotel and says to me, well, you're going to be singing at a church tomorrow, and I'm going to be speaking. And then after the first service, the pastor asked me to speak, in the evening service. And I did, and I spent all my afternoon instead of at the beach figuring out what I'm gonna do, and I ended up speaking about fasting. And
Wow.
little did I know, which was totally not what I was planning to say. And then the pastor said that the following day, on the Monday, they were starting a fast. So
Wow.
that was pretty cool how that worked. And
Mhm.
there again, there was another year we went, and we ended up going to a church, and they asked if I would sing on the following week, because we usually go for 2 weeks, and they asked me to sing, and so I did.
Mm.
So we kind of fall into these things, and then from there just blossomed, and we just go places wherever God sends us.
The thing is to, our biggest thing is just to love people,
Mm.
just to love people, you know, um, and just to listen. And we have so much to say, and we have our ways in saying it, and that may not be typical, in the Christian world.
Mhm.
And but you need to hear our hearts, and it's just been such a beautiful journey. There's so many things, having a word for and meeting, the president of Suriname, for instance, in South America, um, and just how Creator God opened that up, going throughout the states, throughout Canada. Um, it's just been an amazing journey, and it's all just, we just want to endeavor to be ourselves, you know, and the people that we meet, you know, um, who are such warriors. I'm really blessed to hear that Principal Mike is on tonight too, and what a friend,
Mm.
and just what an opportunity just to be able to sit down and pray with a brother,
Mhm.
and and just to share our hearts, and that's all that we do, you know. That's all that we do. We just want to share our hearts with people, love them where they're at, and want to see them become successful, you know. Um,
And we do things through relationship.
mhm.
Principal Mike was the principal at the Catholic school our daughters attended,
Mm.
and I went the to the welcome and all of that, and just to find out about it, and hearing his heart, and I could just feel the presence of God on him, and it was like, yeah, this is the, and it was, that school was out of our zone, so we had to actually drive our girls every single day for 4 years each of them.
You see, when you want to do something, you'll make a way.
Mhm.
You'll make a way, and it doesn't matter what the cost is, you know. And that's how we are. If Creator God says go, we're going. Simple as that. It doesn't matter who supports, who doesn't support. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. We going, and
Yeah,
we'll make. The Word of
I've
God
seen that.
says to obey is better than sacrifice. You know, and sometimes it's both. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's both.
Yeah. Well, I kind of I'm just remembering the mission trip that you took to Chile was kind of like that, wasn't it? You just went, and you kind of took a big step of faith, and that was actually one of your projects with Flying Bow as well. And you've done a number of projects through Flying Bow. You also did a mission trip to Barbados, wasn't it? Not that long ago, right? Was that, am
No,
I getting that correct?
it was
Or
Trinidad,
oh,
Yeah,
Trinidad? Okay,
just gathering.
indigenous gathering that's in Trinidad, where the
right.
natives of the Americas, meet
Yeah.
there in October, correct?
Okay. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. So can you just tell us what your project is this year? Of course, it's kind of a unique, we're kind of in a lockdown right now. So a lot of our
Yeah.
artists have been kind of moving online and doing a lot more online sort of outreach. But tell us what
Yeah.
you're doing right now. What are your plans for 2021 and then when things open up again in terms of a
Yeah,
project?
we want to do a couple songs, get it recorded so that we could get them out there. One of them is called War Cry,
Hmm.
and another one is called Ogonada. You know, it's a drum song.
Mm.
And Peter is looking forward to getting out in some territories with 6 other women.
Five other women.
Yeah.
And myself.
In
It's the Ignite Hope,
yeah,
and it's through Crossroads. Many of you know Crossroads.
yeah. How many
West
territories?
100 Huntley Street.
How many territories?
We were invited to 13 First Nation communities, so this would be July 14th to August. It's 3 weeks long. Can't remember the dates exactly, but July to August there.
And
so we're driving in an RV.
Wow.
To all the
That'll be an
way
adventure.
to Edmonton and Saskatchewan.
Watch out for the moose.
yeah,
One of those big moose racks in the front of your RV there.
yeah. And there are other things that prop up all the time too, because we meet with Indigenous people, not just in the community here, but in Toronto, just being a help,
Hmm.
uh, and just loving people, just that's it, and it's nice. It's nice to bless them monetarily, it's nice to be able to provide things that way, like single moms and the babies and stuff like that. Um, you know, and there are other things. I could tell you so many stories,
Mm.
and,
Yeah.
and
Well, everyone's going to have a chance to ask you a couple more questions at the end. We got to keep moving here. We could just keep going, I know, but can you just set up the video Rainmaker? This is really neat what happened. It was a really cool collaboration that just happened a couple months ago. Can you just
yeah,
tell us quickly before we roll into that there, Gerard?
sure. Um, yeah, our producer and Andrew Horrocks, he knew of this group called Upside of Maybe, and Creator God just downloaded this song to them, but they wanted to be honoring. They just didn't want to use loops or anything like that. They wanted the real sound, and of Indigenous people. And so they got in touch with us, and what a beautiful group of guys. Just and this was shot at the what we call the Mush Hole, which is the residential school in Brantford,
Mhm.
and so it was actually shot on the grounds there. And I tell you, it was something else shooting this video on the territory there, because I know both sides of the story, right? It's people here in Canada hear about residential schools. In the States is known as boarding schools. Down south in the Caribbean and through South America, they're called encomiendas, missions. So it's not just a Canada thing. It was all of the Americas thing, and Australia. I mean, it's throughout the world, trying to remove culture from our people, you know. And so shooting it, and that part, there's a part in the video where I hug the priest, and with forgiveness,
Mm.
and that was tough, because I'm thinking about who's going to see this, and it has to be real, and because we all have our biases, right? And that had to be put aside to shoot that part, and so yeah, that's kind of the backdrop of it. So, and no, we were really blessed to have a part of that. And yeah, thank you, Michael Benjamin, for the honor to join you in this. That song went on to be nominated in the World Writers Awards, and I think we made it into the finals. I don't think we won, but that was good to be a part of that, and it's being played throughout Canada now, I'm understanding. So yeah, an honor. Yeah.
Well, I like to roll it. So,
Sure.
So here it is.
Your name is Jacob.
My name is not Jacob. It's Okishida.
Say, my name is Jacob.
My name is Okishida.
I know you're up there watching over me. I know you hear and see just what I hear and see. I know I'm broken. I know you feel my pain. All that I'm asking for is just a little bit of rain. Oh, let it fall down and wash away my sin. Oh, let it fall down and drown me in this mess I'm in. Oh, let it fall down and take it with me down the drain. Rainmaker, please, just make it rain. Rainmaker, won't you please make it rain, rain, rain. Rainmaker, won't you please just make it rain. Rainmaker, won't you please make it rain, rain, rain. Rainmaker, won't you please just make it rain. And I can't hide the blood here on my hands. I had my reasons, but you wouldn't understand. And no amount of water will wash away these stains. But even still I pray, could you send a little rain? Rainmaker, won't you please make it rain, rain, rain. Rainmaker, won't you please just make it rain. Rainmaker, won't you please make it rain, rain, rain. Rainmaker, won't you please just make it rain. It won't take away the pain, no, no, no. It won't wash away Just make it rain, rain, rain. Rainmaker, won't you please? Just make it rain.
I am Ogishida.
Wow. Big hand. Amazing. That's powerful. Thank you, Gerard and Peta. We're going to do a little chance for Peta and Gerard just to answer some of your questions for a couple of minutes. Man, I wish we had more time. I wish we could just kind of, we're going to have to limit it a little bit. But if there's a question that just is burning in your heart that you want to ask Peta and Gerard, I want you to ask it right now. We're going to just give them a chance to answer your questions. So feel free just to take off your the mute button on your mic and just, it's going to be a free for all for a couple minutes here. So who wants to start?
That was powerful. Really, this is Karen and my husband Daryl from Nova Scotia, and I'm wondering if you would ever consider, or have it on your schedule to come to Nova Scotia.
For sure.
Yeah, I have.
For sure.
Or we're there.
Yeah,
That would be so.
Yeah, we would love to. We would love to.
Yeah, we would love to. We would love
Happy to help coordinate that,
Happy
Karen.
to help coordinate that, Karen.
Yeah, we're getting
Right.
echoes when
Yeah.
people take their mics
Yeah,
off.
we're getting echoes when people take their mics off.
Do you run into problems with the longhouse people? Do they oppose you?
Actually, we go to Longhouse. It's amazing how Creator God would even use Longhouse. And I could tell you a little story. At the beginning of the year, there's a turn in ashes ceremony. And in this turning ashes ceremony, it's supposed to represent a time in which you think, your Creator will have you think about things or to confess certain sins, you know. And I remember the first time I went, and I was turning the ash, and actually I was the first person to be given the paddle to be part of the ceremony. And Creator God just brought to my memory people that I did not ask forgiveness from. And I was just weeping as I was doing that. And afterwards, at the end, they came to me, the faith keepers, the women, and they were telling me, asking me what was going on. And I told them, and they said, wow, that is what is supposed to happen.
And that was the key thing of that, is that he didn't have a clue because he'd never been to a turning ashes ceremony, so he didn't even know what it was about.
Yeah. So I'm able to go into Longhouse and my family too, to be part of the ceremony. And as I say, we are so blessed because they know that we will lay our lives down. You know, this house that we have here, they came and they did our roof for us. You know, we will go, my daughter's fiance and myself, we went in and we chopped wood so that the elders will be able to have it. You know, it's not our words only, but our actions, you see? And we are all spirit being, and we'll sense that love, you know? Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and then we'll move on to Matt Macleod. He's going to take things next.
It's Brody here.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to say that awesome video. Wow. My wife and I were just sitting here, really, really enjoyed that. Is that video shareable? It's on YouTube and
Yes, it's on YouTube.
okay. A couple of years ago, I got to go on a mission trip to Winnipeg, and I did my first blanket ceremony, and it was very powerful. I learned so much, and I got to go in my first sweat lodge, and that was very powerful too. So I just wanted to say you guys are just doing awesome work, and yeah, that video really touched us. Hey, DJ. Where are you guys from?
We live in Rockwood, in Nassasagwea, which is near Guelph, and between Guelph and Acton, in Ontario.
Okay.
It's before Kitchener, Waterloo, and London, and all of that.
Okay, yeah, we're in Kitchener.
Okay, not far. Stone throw.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to move things on here as much as I'd like to. Maybe at the very end, if people want to stick around and you still have some questions, we can extend things just to kind of respect people's time tonight. I want to just keep moving on here. So I'm it's a real honor to introduce you to Matt Macleod. Now, Matt's one of our newest artists. Now, he has been touring and performing with OKAMA for a number of years. And but then just recently, he's come on as an artist, and he'll tell you about that. And it's just a real honor now to introduce you to Matt Macleod. Matt, take it away, brother.
Thanks, Trevor. I'm just going to start off really quickly. Well, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's here on the call, and Gerard and Peta for starting off as well. And one thing you should know is I love the drums. And so I'm going to start off with a quick little cover song, not an original, but just a cover for you guys.
You can't keep going at a rate like this, running from your life when you're meant to live. Gotta keep on breathing, yeah. There's too many reasons. No, you can't keep going at a rate like this, burying the past, not to deal with it. Feeling so defeated, yeah. There's too many reasons to keep on.
Lost my granddad in 07, still trying to cope to this day. I was wondering if you went to heaven yet. There ain't nothing I could change. I spent late nights, I was scared to die. I ain't wanna see the grave. I was playing games with my heartbeat instead of slowing down just to pray. You've been reaching for the hand you thought you never grab, but Jesus brings the hope you thought you never have. Tired of living in a nightmare, Lord. I just wanna hear you run around this same circle, don't make me feel brand new. You gotta know it ain't over, cause you got a hand to hold. Let his peace come rushing through your soul. Too many reasons for you just to let go. There's hope.
You can't keep going at a rate like this, running from your life when you're meant to live. Gotta keep on breathing, yeah. There's too many reasons. No, you can't keep going at a rate like this, burying the past, not to deal with it. Feeling so defeated, yeah. There's too many reasons to keep on breathing.
We lost PJ, we lost C-Dub, and lost Lil J to these streets, bruh. Got family members on lockdown, I still pray to God to release them. Put my hope in the Father. All these problems just put your
the past, not to deal with it. Feeling so defeated, yeah, yeah. There's so many reasons to keep on breathing. Keep on breathing. To keep on
Yeah, awesome. We can see you clap, guys. Feel free to do that when it happens. I'm going to ask you a couple questions there, Matt. Matt asked me to just kind of intersperse the questions with his with some of the things he wants to do for you tonight. So, first of all, just tell us about your background as an artist. How did you get into music and the arts there, Matt?
Yeah. So I apparently I was that baby that was drumming in the kitchen on pots and pans. So I was always a fan of the drums, I guess, from a young age. So I grew up, playing all the time in church. My dad was a worship pastor, so there was lots of opportunities to do that, and he always invested in us as giving opportunities for that as well, to play. And as I got older, I had more opportunities, to play at bigger events, bigger opportunities like that. In high school and in university, I started playing with some different bands, and OKAMA was one of them. So that was the start, sort of really having a deep passion for using the drums within a ministry sort of context. And I had an introduction to hip hop in high school and fell in love with it. I was a big fan of a lot of Christian artists who were in the hip hop scene, and began to turn my attention towards producing hip hop with, some friends locally, just doing it for fun, that sort of thing. And that brought this new passion of mine of production onto the scene. And so I am now sort of pairing those two passions, those two musical backgrounds of drumming and music production now into what I do now as an artist. So that's a little bit of a background there. Oh, I think we lost Trevor. I think what Trevor was going to ask next was just going in line with what he asked Gerard and Peta, was to share a little bit of my story. So I'll act as Trevor as well for now. Yeah, I grew up, I'm very thankful for how I grew up with just a family and a community around me that loved me very deeply. I think God really was watching over me from a young age. And even though I didn't necessarily feel like I knew God as a person, I, loved the idea of God as a kid and knew that he was important, and that was enough for me at that point. But as I came into high school, again, that community that God had placed in my life really was so crucial in helping me understand not only the idea of who God was, but actually understanding him as a person that I could know, and began to actually understand who he was, who I was, and why I actually needed God, why he was so important. And so it all clicked for me in about grade 10 or grade 11, on a real personal level. And that's a point in life where also, like I said, a lot of my music gifts were starting to take them a bit more seriously. And so that was an opportunity where God stepped in and redirected the trajectory of my life. And he gave purpose to me, not only as a person, but purpose to my gifts as well. And so that's where he has brought me now. And I'm so thankful, he hasn't just, saved us from negative infinity to zero, but from like negative infinity to positive infinity. And he sent us out with, fully equipped on mission. And so he's using my gifts now. I'm so thankful that he's using my gifts to reach other people, to show them the love of Jesus. And so I'm thankful for where he's brought me now. It looks like Trevor's back on.
Suddenly lost my internet, or hello? Was that just me?
You're good.
Everyone's still there. Oh, perfect. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm back. So I hope you just kept going there, Matt.
Yeah, no, we kept rolling.
What did you cover? What do you want me to ask you next?
I think if you want to play the first video, actually, as a bit of context, again, just as I shared, where God has brought my two passions now of drumming and production and mixing in hip hop as well. This is a short clip here of something that I just worked on and just produced with another Flyingbow artist, actually, Michael Harris, and 3 other artists from all around the world, one from South Africa, one from North Carolina, and one from Toronto, that I all met online. And I'd love to share that with you guys.
Fantastic. This is King of My Heart, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Myself all in depression, trying to find some love in all these people and acceptance. Wondered who will miss me when I'm gone, no longer present. Trying to find some strength to love myself, but I can't get it. Surrounded by so many, but I still feel all alone. I couldn't show my feelings, so I hid behind my phone. I feel better on my own. I couldn't tell you what is wrong. So if you felt that feeling, I could never throw a stone. If you wasn't for the Lord, I don't know where I would be. Broken to the core, I didn't know I could be free. I had many issues that were changing it for real. I still have many issues, I just trust in Elohim. I really believe Yahweh is for me. I was blind, but now I see the love you show is real. God, you've been so good for me, always got me through for me. Every time I call upon your name, I know you're more for me.
Been down for a long time, never thought I'd ever see the sunrise. Been down for a long time, never thought I'd ever see the daylight. But you promised not to leave me, and I will see the victory. You're by my side, and you'll always be.
Yeah.
You were thinking of me when you was thinking all of his, and picked me up when I was in the pit. Sent your angels as a guardian. Thought that I was finished, you said start again. Had a lot of friends, but none closer than you. Came old, but you making me new. Mine said, yeah, you make it renew, cause the bad has been hewed and replaced with the truth. Now I see you in my view, ain't it great? Fell at the crust like I got shake and bake. Not all superheroes be wearing a cape, but my superhero, he came with a case. Came with a case because we all lost. Wanted all of us twinning because we all sons. Yeah, he came in to live and to finish the mission without any gimmicks. I know that he's with us, he calls us.
Been down for a long time, never thought I'd ever see the sunrise. Been down for a long time, never thought I'd ever see the daylight. But you promised not to leave me, and I will see the victory. You're by my side and you'll always be. You are good, good. Oh, you are good. All glory go to Jesus. Yeah. He the king of my heart, helped me to finish and got me to start. When they try to bury me, you keep on carrying me till I finish. Crazy how you took the death of my sentence. To the society, I am a menace, cause I won't conform to it. Go through the fire and form through it, and step out and don't smell like the smoke. Oh, me is dead, it was murder, she wrote. Found a new me and I had to elope. Keeping the faith is the substance of hope. They staying foolish cause they think it's a joke. Too many people that wanna be leaders, but they never learn how to follow the leader. Jesus the head, he is who functions the body, that's how we remain as believers. King of kings, El Shaddai Elohim, there's ways we think are right, that ain't what it seems. Jesus the way and the truth and the light, following him is how we get redeemed. I cannot compromise for the sake of not being ostracized, when my savior was killed and demoralized, so that we could be right in the Father's eyes. They running from sound doctrine, tell them the truth and they go and mock it. Stay in the place when they out of pocket, only come to Jesus when they out of options. He doesn't care, he just wants you to come, bearing my cross until he say it's done. This not a hobby, we don't rap for fun, we just staying high so when you meet the sun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You are good. Oh, you are good. Oh, you are good. Good. Oh, you are good. Good. Oh, you're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down.
Awesome. It's really cool. I love seeing the collaboration that's happening between Flyingbow artists. It's happening quite a bit. Michael Austin Harris was doing lead vocals on that, which was really neat. And Matt, your sound and just what you're doing with groove and hip hop, and it's just so cool, so neat. So tell me, how has God called you to use your music for the kingdom? What's been the process of that calling?
I think for me, I'm realizing more and more and stepping into just this overlap and this crossover of what one of my greatest passions and one of my greatest gifts are within music. And I want to use that. Well, Gerard mentioned earlier that, our emphasis and all we're really called to do is to love other people, to love God and to love other people. And so I want to use music as a context, a tool, a platform to love other people. And Jesus, when I see how he interacted with other people, he really cares. He really cares about, getting to know people, and he really cares about people on a personal level. And that's the beauty of whether it's an event that I'm drumming at, if it's with OKAMA, for example, there's opportunities just to meet people and build relationship with them through those events, through the context of, listening to a song that gives an opportunity to meet people, to hear their story, to hear their heart. And so it's a powerful relational tool. And so, yeah, whether it's, playing the drums or producing a song with someone, or, using that song, that finished song, I want all of that to be simply as a tool to get to know people and to, build a relationship with them and see how God can use that relationship, wherever they're at, whatever situation they're in at that point.
Very similar response to OKAMA, Pete and Gerard, about relationship, right? And just loving others and relationship. That's beautiful. And tell us about your project with Flyingbow. I know you've been on quite a journey, a big step of faith this year.
Yeah.
And just tell us about them. Many here on this Zoom call already know all about this because they've been getting your updates, but there's maybe some people here that don't know. So let us know quickly.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm excited about for the upcoming year, where it's going to be the primary focus of my Flyingbow project. My focus is actually to really lean into meeting people online. Over the past year or so, I've just been interacting with a lot of people in online groups and online communities. It started just hanging out in online music groups and meeting other artists. That's how I met the people that were actually on that King of My Heart song. But I'll meet people who are followers of Jesus. I'll meet people who aren't, and just start to build relationships with them. And as I build relationships with them and, continue to, just have conversations with them, that sort of thing, I've seen God bring opportunities to share about why I do music and to have some more conversations with people who maybe don't know the Lord yet. And so I've had opportunities to share my faith just through the context of meeting people in these online groups. And so I'm really excited to lean into that and to really dedicate more time to that. So I'm actually partnering. I'm excited about it, but I'm partnering with a ministry called Power to Change. They have a music ministry as well, called House of Worship. And so my project this year is to actually work as a producer to produce and release original music that's written by, in collaboration with other Flyingbow artists or with House of Worship artists from Power to Change, to produce and release these songs in online communities. And we'll use these as, conversation starters as a context to meet people, to connect with them in, on a personal level, and just to start a relationship with them, have an opportunity to meet them, because music is, again, just such a personal context that it can really create very impactful relationships. So I'm really excited about that, and it's something that like Trevor said, has been a step of faith. It's something that I've been working on raising a group of supporters for, and I'm super close to starting, and I'm super excited. I'm thinking that I'm going to be starting actually in a couple weeks.
Yeah, very exciting.
So God's been very good.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're really excited about this partnership with Power to Change as well. We believe with Flyingbow, we really believe in partnerships. We really believe that we can be stronger together as we partner with other organizations. And so we have a number of partnerships with Compassion Canada, Gideon's International, and Shareword Global, Youth for Christ. So many different organizations we've partnered with to just work together and just continue to see God do his work. And, you know, music and the arts are just so powerful as a tool to be able to share the gospel and just share the love of Jesus and create these relationships so we can start the conversations. And it's just been amazing and so great to have you on the team there, Matt. You're just doing such a great job. So, yeah, why don't you set up this next video quickly here?
Yeah. So this next video is actually, it's just a quick one, about 2 minutes, but this is actually a clip of a collaboration project that I did last summer just for fun with House of Worship, with Power to Change. And this was something that we actually released online as well last summer. Again, similar idea to meet people and get some conversations going with them. So this was a short clip of one of the songs that we co-produced together. So yeah, I'll let you roll that, Trevor.
Okay. Fantastic. Now we're just going to open up for a few minutes for you to ask any questions you have of Matt. Just whoever wants to just take your mute off and fire away any questions you might have.
Who's the lovely lady next to you?
This is my lovely wife, Amber. We actually got married in October, and we have just moved to a new city as well. We're in Hamilton now. So newlyweds, new city, all in a pandemic. So it's great.
Awesome. Amber, thank you for joining us tonight. You didn't have to be here. huge support.
I feel like most of my support was done in troubleshooting all the various ways to try and get a drum thing happening on Zoom, which is yesterday. But yeah, it's lovely to be here and to see everyone.
Yeah, fantastic. Any other questions? I'm going to check the chat. Maybe there's somebody trying to chat some questions here.
How many drums have you worn out?
How many drums have you worn out?
It's probably more the drumsticks that I've worn out, but not too many. I try to be careful with them. I have a hand drum actually that Gerard gave me as a gift, and so he emphasized a lot the respect that we should have for the instruments. So I try to be careful.
I just wanted to say that I'm just so encouraged to see those videos. I think your music's awesome. Haven't seen you guys in a while. So happy I see the glory of God on your faces, and seeing that you guys use your music in like the online communities and using your videos for an entry point to share about God. And that's just awesome. So I'm just good on you guys, and I'm always praying for you, and continue to do what you're doing. That's awesome hearing in 2 more weeks too that you guys are launching off, and yeah. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you both.
Thanks so much, Brody. Yeah, wow. Brody actually, I graduated from the University of Guelph, and Brody helped last year do some outreach events on campus with us, and so we had some really great experiences last year. During an event called Jesus Week, and yeah, Brody's a great guy, and yeah, thank you for that encouragement, man.
Yeah, thank you, Brody. Okay, well, we're gonna just keep going here. We're gonna move back to OKAMA, and OKAMA have a bit of a drum loop that that Matt sent. Normally, Matt would have been there with OKAMA, with Gerard and Peta together, but with just the lockdown, we weren't able to make that happen tonight. And so Matt sent along a video loop to Peta and Gerard to roll. And so this is kind of what they would sound like all together. So take it away, guys.
So this is brand new. You are just hearing it for the first time. This is the first time we're gonna do it in front of anyone. And I just have a few lyrics that have started to bubble up. And I think we're calling this Sacred Warrior. I have a Sacred Warrior program for my my spiritual coaching that I do. So I nabbed this one, the first set of beats no, it's not the first set of beats he sent us. This is about the third. And so I said, okay, Matthew, I'm nabbing this one for my coaching.
So just a couple of things. First of all, Matthew, just so proud of you. So proud of you and Amber. And again, it's an honor to speak into your life. And it's an honor that you could, pass on this music and stuff. And it's just showing that, even in the midst of the times that we are in now, Creator God could make a way. And I don't know if I mentioned it before too. Peter and I, we are also ordained with Indigenous Messengers International, and that has been a real blessing as well. So again, thank you, Trevor, for your support and
you're welcome.
Words of encouragement. And but yeah, Matthew, really, really proud of you. Really, proud of you.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a great evening. I want to thank just a big hand both to Matt Macleod and to Peter and Gerard Roberts for just all their wonderful music and sharing their ministries with us tonight. And I just want to thank each of you for being here with us tonight on Zoom. Glitches and all, this is just the way it is. And it's just been wonderful to be a part of this as your host tonight. And, music and the arts are intrinsically beautiful. They're an amazing gift from the Lord. We've really seen that tonight. Paired with the good news of Jesus Christ, I really believe that they're an incredible tool to open doors or create opportunities to help prepare the way for the gospel. And both OKAMA and Matt Macleod have a passion to share the gospel through their music in their projects with Flyingbow. And God is using them in just amazing, unique ways for his purposes. And so I have a question for you. Will you support both OKAMA and Matt tonight? Can you support them? If you haven't already, will you do that? Just to purchase a ticket to attend a concert like this tonight would have easily been $15 to $20. So just even a gift of that to help with their time and the costs associated with this tonight would be amazing. And you can do that just by going to Flyingbow and just making a donation to just right on their profile. I'm going to show you how to do that. And again, just pray, maybe God's calling you to support them on a continual basis. And this is between you and the Lord. Just prayerfully consider what you're able to give to support the work that God is doing through them. They're especially both looking for monthly supporters, just so that they can just be free just to do what God's calling them to do. You heard from OKAMA that they just want to go. They don't ever want finances to be in the way of these big steps of faith that they take. And this will enable consistent outreach ministry moving forward. And of course, one-time donations are really appreciated as well. And I'm just going to really quickly show you how to do this. It's very easy. I'm just going to share my screen back to the Flyingbow website. You could even go there right now on your phones if you want, or another device. And you just go right to Flyingbow. And you can just, right here in Flyingbow, you can just go to Artists, the Artists tab, and you can just drop down to OKAMA. Very easy. And when you go to the OKAMA's profile, you'll see right here, Support OKAMA. Click on OKAMA, Support OKAMA, and you can make either a monthly or a one-time gift to OKAMA in any way you want, just right there. Or let's say you want to support Matt tonight. I'd like you to support both if you can. You just go there, do the same thing, support Matt, and away you go. Okay? And we also take donations just to the ministry in general. You just go to donate, and you can do a donation to the ministry in general just for our general operations, just to do these sorts of events. But right here too, you can actually in the drop-down menu go to the artists as well and support them directly that way. Okay? So I hope that's clear. You can, of course, donate in every other way possible, e-transfer, check. Just make sure that if you send an e-transfer, you just send it to trevor@flyingbow.com. I'm the executive director, and I'll make sure it goes to whatever artist you want to give it to. Make sure you designate and just write in that e-transfer who it's going to. Or if it's via check, you can send those checks. There's right on the donation page, you'll see an address that you can send it to. Again, make sure you designate the check, who you're giving that check to, which project, whether it be OKAMA or Matt or both. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Now, I don't want to end too early here. If you still had questions, I can leave the page open and allow you to continue to chat with Matt and with Peter and Gerard if you'd like to. But I'm going to just close in prayer right now, just to commit our time to the Lord, and then I'm going to just leave the Zoom open for a bit if you want to just keep chatting and if you have any other questions. So let's just close in prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you. We thank you for this just amazing evening. We thank you for all that came tonight. We thank you, Jesus, that your name was lifted high. We give you all the glory and all the praise, Lord. We thank you for Peter and Gerard. We thank you for their ministry, OKAMA. We just pray for a blessing on them, Lord. I just pray you'd open up doors for them and that you would just keep encouraging them. And I just pray that you just go before them and you would be behind them and ahead of them and leading the way in every way. Give them your strength and your perseverance at this time, and just continue to do your work through their very unique and amazing ministry. We give you all the glory. And we thank you for Matt, Lord. I just pray for a blessing on his life. And I just pray that you continue to go ahead of him and provide for him. I just thank you how you've provided for this new step of faith. And he's only weeks away from launching out in this new venture. And Lord, what an adventure it is to serve you in this way. And we just pray for your hand of guidance on him, protection, continued clarity, and open doors. Lord, continue to help him as he develops these new relationships online, and just continue to bless him. And Lord, I just pray all these things in your powerful name, Jesus. Amen.